my witchy friends. It's Victory ASMR. And today I have a massive book haul to show you all. This is an accumulation of a couple of months of collecting, and a lot of these books are ones that I've referenced on the channel before, but I just didn't have my own copy. I was accessing them through the library or other resources, and for Victory ASMR, I decided it was a good idea if I actually owned a physical copy of these books. They're all witchcraft related, so if that's something that interests you, you've come to the right place. And of course, if you're new here, please subscribe and join the coven. We are a very friendly and welcoming bunch. Okay, so without further ado, we put this very heavy stack down over here, and let's start with the first one. So most of the books that I bought are really large and really heavy coffee table style books or encyclopedias with lots of resources. But this one is rather small. And if you are into witchcraft, you know that one of the lead publishers on witches is Lewin. And every year they put out a almanac. So this one runs from Samhain 2023 to Mabon 2024. And it's just like a farmer's almanac or any other kind of almanac you can think of. But it runs through all of the Wheel of the Year celebrations, and it has all sorts of tips and tricks and recipes and things. And I'm always such a big fan of their illustration style. So like here's the Wheel of the Year drawn in, so you can always consult that. But each section has a little notes area as well if you want to write any notes on your own rituals and traditions. I think that's really handy, honestly. And I haven't looked far ahead yet because I read these sections as I go, but like here's Imbolc. It's so nice. The illustration style is just so detailed and so beautiful. And so I've only read Samhain's, but soon I'll be reading the Yule essays in here. But this is just a purchase that I make every year, and they also make an incredible date book, if that's something that interests you. They have a bunch of different interesting traditions and recipes in there as well, and I use my Witch's Day book all the time to keep my life, my schedule organized. So I picked this up actually about a week ago. I was a little late on the Samhain train, but I was very busy making videos for all of you for the Samhain season. Hopefully you enjoyed those as much as I did making them. So that is the Sabbath's Almanac, a way to honor the sacred celebrations of the witches' year with rituals, recipes, crafts, pagan lore, and planetary guidance. I saw someone comment that ASM artists don't spend enough time on the spines of books, so I'm paying attention to the spines just for you. Okay, so we have the Sabbath's Almanac. The next book is really rather beautiful. It is this gorgeous full color illustrated book called Pagans. And it's the visual culture of pagan myths, legends, and rituals. And it's so beautiful. I cannot get over how heavy and gorgeous feeling this book is. Here's the spine. It's by Ethan Doyle White. And it says on the back, for more than 1,000 years, a diverse range of peoples from Ireland to India to Australia have been labeled pagan by the Christians who encountered them. Since the 20th century, new groups have emerged: Wiccans, Druids, neo-shamans, and heathens, who openly call themselves pagans. But what are the fundamentals of paganism today? Gods and goddesses, the divine in nature, magic? The answers lie inside these pages. Delve within to uncover paganism's signs, symbols, and rituals through the rich imagery and mystical objects that surround its practice. And it's just one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen. It's hard to give you an idea. Here's one of the color pages. So there's quite a bit of text, but the illustrations are just remarkable. And I've read through quite a bit of it already and have been really impressed with the research that has gone into it. So here's a profile, for example, on sacred plants. It just is a very trustworthy source. Here's a section that's called Numinous Nature. It's just such an impressive book. Look at this tarot spread. It's just so beautiful. And this just recently came out. So gorgeous. And so I've been kind of treating myself to reading it during my morning coffee. Here's a picture of Stonehenge, decoding Stonehenge. But I can just hardly believe it's real. Sometimes a book on witchcraft comes out on paganism in this case, and you just look at it and you're like, this looks almost like if when you were a kid you read those DK eyewitness books on castles or cats or movies. They had this collage style element to them that just lit up every part of my brain. I was just so obsessed with those books, and this feels like an adult version. So I'm really, really happy with this one. I'd love to do an in-depth review of it on the channel. If that's something that you're interested in, please let me know. Any of these books, leave a comment. Let me know which one caught your attention, and comments really do help the because sometimes ASMR gets hidden. So any comment that you have or you want to leave, if it floats your broomstick, that is, please do. So that is Pagans by Ethan Doyle White. Okay, the next one you are most certainly familiar with if you've watched my videos. I will put a link probably up here or up here to the video where I flip through, I think it's A to J of the Encyclopedia of Witches, Witchcraft, and Wicca. However, that one was of the second edition. This is the third edition, which I just recently picked up. It's by the incredible Rosemary Ellen Guiley. She is really one of the authorities on the practices of witchcraft and the history. I admire her work so much. And she's added Wicca to the title of this one because it just is more inclusive. It talks more about other aspects of the practice that are more modern, just because before it really was more of a historical book, I suppose. But it's really exciting that they are continuing to put editions out of this because it's honestly one of my biggest resources on this channel and researching the videos. There's not a lot to show you really here. Obviously, it's just really in-depth encyclopedia entries, but there are some images here and there of things when they're useful or to demonstrate something. But if you are interested in witchcraft history, I highly recommend picking up a copy of this. It's because it's really nice, even from the beginner to the advanced levels of interest in witchcraft. It can tell you a lot. It says topics include biographies of contemporary and historical figures, Book of Shadows, demons, familiars, folklore relating to witchcraft, the Inquisition, magic and Wicca, Salem witches and other historical cases of witchcraft trials, spells, tools such as altars, amulets, cauldrons, and charms, Wicca practices, rituals, beliefs, and traditions, Wiccan organizations, witches and entertainment, films, television, stage, and popular fiction. So you will see this appear many more times on the channel. It's just such an important part of my roster of research materials. And of course, I love that this edition has pre-Raphaelite art on it. Previous editions, I think, had the Witches in Macbeth painting from Goya, but I really like that they've chosen this one. It's so beautiful, though it is a shame because this original painting has a very small, very alarmed looking black cat, like off to the side of the image, but it just couldn't fit. So that is the Encyclopedia of Witches, Witchcraft, and Wicca. Okay, this next one is by the same publisher as the Pagans book, and all of these books today are really, really heavy. This would look really good on a coffee table, but this is Christopher Dell, The Occult, Witchcraft, and Magic, an Illustrated History, and it's really gorgeous. I cannot get over just how thick this volume is. Here's the back here. So there's a lot of different topics that are covered. It shows you kind of a chart listing of all of them, and it's just a really high quality volume that I had been eyeing up for quite some time, just because I think it's nice to have a wide variety of resources on your shelf. And academic books on witchcraft, because I am an academic, they often tend to be pretty low on pictures, and sometimes you forget like what you're studying. Like you just become so disconnected from the rich tapestry of art in the field, right? So it's nice to have visual representations of witchcraft history, ones that you can access when you're in need of a little bit of inspiration. And there's just so many like high quality images in this collection, and they're on this really glossy, gorgeous paper. So it just feels significant, like it's a solid tome. It also has a slipcover, so if you don't want to have this on it, it almost looks like a grimoire underneath. So here it has this beautiful red stamped image here, and the spine is the same. So if you don't feel like using the slipcover, you can always just take it off. And I really appreciate that they keep the name of the book on the front when you've taken the slipcover off. That's just like weirdly rare. I don't know why, but it looks amazing. So I will definitely be showing you this book in more depth in the future, just because I cannot get enough of these illustrations. Like, they're just so beautiful, and there's actually a lot of really great history in here that I would be thrilled to show you, and of course a lot of gorgeous pre-Raphaelite art, which you know I am a huge fan of. So look out for this book in the future on the channel. I think it's just necessary. Like, we have to go through it and do a little review, because I'm very curious about the contents. So that's The Occult, Witchcraft, and Magic by Christopher Dell. And here's that slipcover. I always think it's so weird to look at them when they're off the book, but it says that it's a spellbinding history of esoteric knowledge from Stone Age shamans and Mesopotamian astrology to Freemasonry and magic in the modern world. And it says that there's 400 plus illustrations, which doesn't surprise me in the least, because the quality of the images just seems so high. It seems like it's more a coffee table book than anything else. So that's that one. Next one is in French. I know how to read French, so sometimes I will get some books in French. But it's about the history of witches. And it's a soft cover book, weirdly enough. It feels like it should be a hardcover book, but it's soft cover. And it's called Les Sorcières, une histoire de femmes. And it's this voyage through the ages of witchcraft, un véritable voyage dans le temps pour explorer la figure de les sorcières à travers les âges. You can see there's all sorts in here. But the design of it really caught my eye. Like, it's very modern. It's quite beautiful. And there's lots of historic imagery. Like, I love the way that they've put some of the lettering and text. The design's just really pretty. So I'm a very big fan. And I really bought it to practice my French, my reading, in obviously an area that really interests me. So here's a little bit about plant magic as well. And wow, it even features a little bit about the horror film, which I think I've seen before. And yeah, figures dissocier. It's just beautifully designed, and I really wanted it on my shelf for that reason. So I special ordered this a while ago, and I believe it's still in print if you're interested and you read French. There's no English version, unfortunately, but it's really beautiful. And I'd be happy to show you this one as well in a video. Perhaps some soft-spoken reading of French would appeal to some of you. I'm not sure. I don't have like the best accent in the world, but I'm getting there. I'm working on my spoken, so hopefully I get a chance to work more on it. My comprehension skills in particular, it's just I'm so busy these days, it can be kind of hard. So that is this book, and it has such a beautiful matte finish on it. I love when a book has that soft, velvety, matte finish on it. It just feels so nice in your hands. And it sounds really good in videos as well. Like very, very relaxing. So that is Les Sorcières, and it's by Céline Duchesnay. Céline Duchesnay, I think. And yeah, it's just really, really pretty. Okay, this next one is quite famous, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it, or at least heard of Scott Cunningham. This is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, and this was always around growing up. My mother had a copy of this. She also had, I think it was Wicca in the Kitchen or something like that, around, and they were just like thumbed up and bookmarked and loved to bits and pieces. So I decided to get my own copy and stop borrowing hers, just because I think that you can bring your own kind of personal magic to books when you own them. And she was still using hers, so I thought, maybe it's not a bad thing to have my own copy. This one I reference a lot in videos as well, so I decided this should be my Big Brie ASMR copy. It just makes sense to me. It has a pretty thorough selection of information on herbs and flowers and plants. So I'll just read you one. The entry for eucalyptus. You get folk names, so blue gum tree, stringy bark tree, a gender, a planet, an element, powers, and magical uses. So the planet is the moon, element is water, powers are healing, protection, and it says the leaves are used to stuff healing poppets. So those are like little witch dolls. If you're interested in kitchen witches, I recently did a video on kitchen witches. I had one made for myself. I'll throw the link into this video. But it says they're carried to maintain good health. To relieve colds, ring green candles with the leaves and pods and burn them to the socket, visualizing the person or yourself as being completely healthy. Also hang a small branch or twig of eucalyptus over the sickbed. String the immature or green pods on green thread and wear to help heal sore throats. Place beneath the pillow, the pods guard against colds. The leaves are also carried for protection. So that gives you an idea, and that's the entry for eucalyptus right here. So they're pretty brief entries, but they give you just enough information to contextualize whatever witchcraft or practice you're doing, or if you're just curious about the history of an herb, it's like a very easy way to figure out things quite quickly. But there's a lot of symbolism, history, and work on my channel, as you all know, so Cunningham's is one of the sources that I use the most when I'm trying to figure out what a plant means or why it should be used. I use it a lot for my simmer pot video. It's because the simmer pots kind of are a sort of spell work in themselves. So I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was accurate. And you know I love a source that looks at history because I'm a witchcraft historian. So if there's any historical context and it's well researched, I am a very happy witch indeed. So that is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. If you've stuck around for this much of the video, lucky you, because you get to see one of my Library of Esoterica volumes. Now, I absolutely love these. I also have the tarot one, and they just look beautiful on a shelf. Like, look how gorgeous the spine of this book looks. It's also lovely to tap on. The cream white color with all of the little hexagonal shapes on it, embossed in gold. Like, these are collector's books. These feel like heirloom books, like books that you pass on through the generations. And it feels like they could survive just about anything. So this is the Library of Esoterica Witchcraft. And again, I was talking about this earlier. I'm always looking for more visual aids when I'm doing research, so it's nice to be able to look at pictures when I've been in the depths of the dustiest old tomes and I just need a change of pace. That is exactly what these books do for me. They just make me feel a little bit more inspired when I'm working and now when I'm doing videos for you guys. So this is one of, I believe, 4 now. There's an astrology one, and there's a plant magic one that I really want. They just cost a lot of money. Like, this was, I think, $50 or something like that. So it's definitely not cheap. But even the back, like, look at the glimmery gold on it. Like, it's just so beautiful. This was given to me as a gift recently, and it's, I think, my new favorite book in my collection. And this is another one that I like to just open up to a random page and kind of pour over during my morning coffee. It just gives you a lot of food for thought because there's just so many beautiful images, and it's really heavy, so it's not exactly a book that you could casually like take on the bus or the subway. It's not really a book for commuting or like being out in the world, because look how thick it is. And it's also made of like that glossy paper, so that adds to the heavy. Like, it's an art book in a lot of ways. So this is a brand new, very prized part of my collection now, and I'm so thankful to have it. I would love to do a video for you on it. If it's something you're interested in, I could do a review. We could look through some of the art in it, and I just would love to appreciate the beauty of these books. And maybe if you're interested in buying them, it gives you like a little bit of a taste for the books themselves before you do. So that's one of the most delicious things, I think, in this haul. It's just so, so beautiful. And the cover also makes really lovely noises. Okay, last but certainly not least, this is the only fictional book in this haul. This was given to me quite recently by a dear friend, and I thought it kind of fit with the bigger size of the books in this haul, because even though it is nonfiction, it's quite large. Like, it's quite a bit bigger than a normal paperback or even just hardcover book would be that you would get at the bookstore. But this is called Slewfoot, A Tale of Bewitchery, and it's by Brom. And I know very little about it, but there's a ton of praise on the back that says it's like the best thing they've ever read in their life. It says it's a lusciously dark tale of witchcraft and devilry. This book was tailor-made for lovers of folk horror and everyone who wants to live deliciously. And it also says a fast-paced, hallucinogenic fairy tale delivering likable protagonists, exotic beasties, and scoundrels whom we long to see at a table with their just desserts. And this also has that beautiful matte finish that I love so much in a book. It just makes you want to cuddle it or snuggle it or something. It's so bizarre, but I really do love it. And it makes lovely noises. This is Slewfoot, A Tale of Bewitchery. And it's mostly just what you would expect. Text. Oh, there's also a note in there from when I received the gift. But it's a lot of what you would expect. But there are a couple of illustrations here and there. Here's an illustration. There's all sorts of them in here. They accompany the tale. And I always love illustrations in a book because I think it just really enriches the experience. This one says The Witch. So I'm really excited to read this one. I don't read enough fiction. I'm always really reading academic books and things like that. So whenever I get a little bit of fiction in my life, I'm always really, really happy. So yeah, this is Slewfoot. Okay, so here are all of the books together from this haul. I am so excited to add them to my very witchy bookshelf. I have a section just for books on witchcraft with its own subsections, and these will be a very welcome addition. But thank you so much for joining me today for this video. And again, if you're new here, please do subscribe and join the coven. Let me know if any of these books are something that you would like a deeper dive into with a little bit of a review and a showcase of some of the pages. I would be more than happy to provide. And I hope that you have a very restful